Hey YouTube, what's up? So I want to talk about the alternate ending for the movie Get Out. All right, and it's kind of like been floating around on YouTube. There's like deleted scenes, and there's like a lot of variations to the ending that occurred in the theatrical movie. But there is an ultimate, like there's another ending that's very different from the one that was in theaters. And I want to talk about that particular ending, all right? Because I feel like that was the ending that we as the audience was expecting or were expecting. Um, so, all right, spoiler alert, by the way. If you haven't seen the movie, perhaps you shouldn't watch this video until you have. If you have not seen the alternate ending, perhaps you should not watch this video until you have done so. Okay, so in this alternate ending, Chris chokes Rose, of course, and then the cops show up. This time, it's the actual cops, and Chris is in trouble. Okay, obviously, right? The cops see this man, especially this black man, choking this innocent white flower in the street. You know, he's in trouble. So he ends up getting put in jail, and then his friend Rod comes to visit him in jail. And ultimately, it just ends with Chris not wanting to fight the case and instead just taking solace in the fact that he was able to stop the family from hurting other black people. And I feel like this ending, thankfully, it did not occur in the theatrical version of the movie. But we did, when you were in the audience, you did think that that was going to happen, right? Um, but also, like, YouTube user Serin, well, I guess Sensei Ashimatsu something, aka Serin, right? She had mentioned something in her review of the movie where it was like, usually in a horror movie, when the cops show up, it's a good thing, right? But in this situation, when the cops showed up, we knew, like, no, it's not a good thing. It's a bad thing, right? And I think ultimately that speaks to like black people's relationship with law enforcement. I guess relationship is the best word I can think of. But yeah, it kind of speaks to black people's relationship with law enforcement and how when the cops show up, we aren't like, like, oh, we're safe. It's like, uh-oh, it's getting worse, And for Chris, it did get worse, in the alternate ending, of course. Um, you know, And also, I think there was possibly another alternate ending that the creator Jordan Peele spoke about, where it involved his friend Rod, coming into the gated community that Chris was at, and he saw Chris looking into a window, and he calls out to Chris, and then the guy turns around and says, "I don't know who you're talking about." Thus kind of hinting that his body was ultimately snatched, right? Thankfully, Jordan and his team went with the ending that was in theaters, thankfully, because I think that ending kind of gave black people in particular kind of like hope in a way, but also kind of like let black people kind of win for once. At least we can win in a movie, at least in a movie where everything's imaginary, right? Can we get that? You know? And I think Jordan said that the original ending was supposed to be Chris getting arrested. I think that ending didn't test well with the people who watched the movie and gave their opinions on it, and they felt like they didn't want to watch a movie that would remind them of how things really are in society, which is true. because we already know how it would end. But I think it was good for them to go with the ending that they did go with. Um, you know, and this is going to be a quick sidebar. People who do historical movies that involve black people, I feel like if you're going to change things around, I think you need to change it around in favor of us. Like, you don't need to be adding white saviors where there were no white saviors, or white allies where there were no white allies, etc. Right? If you're going to be, revising history in these movies, you need to make it look like we are just super awesome. You need to make it look like, for that whole Nat Turner movie, right, with Nate Parker. He could have made, if he was going to revise some things, he should have revised it in a way that made Nat Turner look like some like superhero, like he never got caught. He should have put that in theaters, right? Nat Turner, he never got caught. He freed all the slaves. But then white people would be like, oh no, that's historically inaccurate. That's not true. Even though we had a ton of movies made by white people that are historically inaccurate, right? But this movie, this is the one they feel the need to call out, right? But yeah, that was just a bit of a sidebar. I just, ultimately, I feel like I kind of wanted to just talk about this movie for, give a little bit more info on this movie. And also, how do you think this movie is going to fare during award season? I feel like this movie probably going to get snubbed. I don't feel like they're going to be showing this movie a lot of love. I don't think so. Because I don't think this is a movie that they want to uplift. They'll uplift something like Moonlight. They'll uplift that, right? Some, homosexual black men, right? That doesn't threaten them, all right? They want to promote that, right? They'll promote something like that, but they ain't gonna promote something like this. I don't think so, all right? And if they do, you need to be very skeptical and analytical, and why they're doing this, right? But I don't see that happening. I feel like they might give a little tiny little bit of attention, just enough so that they can be like, yeah, we saw it and we paid attention to it. Here you go, a little award, and be on your way. So they can pretend to be, quote unquote, good folk, against racism and all that good stuff. But you know how it is for real, though. All right. So that's all I gotta say. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Thumbs up. Feedback and support are appreciated. And also, how did you feel about the movie in general, but also with the alternative ending? How did you feel? Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the movie? Did you enjoy the alternate ending? Did you like the original ending more? Let me know. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.